Hi, and welcome back to Garden Ninja for my March update here at Garden Ninja HQ. Now, March has been a really strange and troubling time all around the world due to the issue with COVID-19 and the coronavirus. And it's set people on a real spin of what to do. People are scared, and I completely appreciate that. I myself, I'm a type 1 diabetic, which means that I've had to self-isolate and make sure that I keep myself away from most people where possible. So I can appreciate that there's going to be a lot of people spending time at home that are worried, going a bit crazy because they don't really know what to do with themselves. So I'm going to try and help you by providing you with garden tips, hints and advice throughout my channel to try and pass the time, improve your gardens and help with your mental well-being. So this month I'm going to be taking you through what I've been doing in the Exploding Atom garden and showing you loads of top hints, tips and hacks to make your garden awesome. So come on gang, let's get cracking. Now it's March and spring is in the air, and March is a perfect time for planting bulbs in the green. Now, if you're wondering what bulbs in the green actually means, I'm like a poet, it means that you can buy bulbs that are already in growth like these. Now they'll have come to the end of their flowering period. By planting them in the green, it means that they don't have to exert as much energy to get going next year. So you're giving them a head start. The only drawback is you have to plant them once they've finished flowering. So you're not going to get any flowers like these snowdrops this year. Next year you'll probably see a marked improvement if you plant in the green versus if you buy the dried bulbs that then have to find all that energy and power to force the way up. So it's a really good way of getting impact next year by planting in the green. Now I've got around 500 individual snowdrops, bluebells and winter aconites that I'm going to plant out here in front of my house at Garden Ninja HQ. Now last month in February you saw me planting all these amazing wonderful bare root trees, and what I'm going to do with the bulbs in the green is plant them around the base of those trees, because these kinds of plants like dappled shade and rich soil. So come next winter, although the trees might not have any leaves, we're going to have all this amazing colour bursting out of the ground and providing a bit of cheer next January through February. So come on, let's get planting. So we're just going to tease out 3 of these single snowdrops, and then we're going to slide them in to that hole until we've covered up the white part of the stem, because that's where they would have been originally buried to. So carefully, maybe with your finger, just slot those in. Then you probably need to go in about 5 centimetres. Once they're lined up and in, you've covered the white, I just then smush that back together again, making sure that the slit is then closed. And really, that's all there is to it. Now the next thing to give you an update on are the quince trees that I planted last year. Now you may remember in February, or it might have been January, I did a prune of them, a winter prune to get them into shape for this year. And now I can see the benefit of those results. So if you look down here, you'll be able to see, and I'll do a close-up in a minute, that we've got loads of small buds about to burst out. So when I was showing you that pruning regime about cutting to an outward facing bud and creating that open aspect, you'll be able to see on these buds exactly why I've done that. And you're basically setting yourself up for success by shaping and forming the tree in a really productive manner. If I'd have just left this, you will, by very nature, get branches that want to cross over, rub, get congested, because the tree just wants to put on growth to try and sustain itself. And we want to kind of restrict that and say, wait a minute, Mr. Quince tree, we're going to try and control that so that you're productive and that you don't get yourself into a pickle when all your branches start rubbing together. Now quite a few of you have been asking about the hedge that I planted about 2.5 years ago now. So I'm going to do a reveal. And behind me you'll see just how thick, bushy and healthy this Griselinia hedge has now become. The guide, when I did it a couple of years back, was showing these little 3 litre hedging plants that I planted out, and I planted them with a distance of about 45 to 50 centimetres. You can see that already in a couple of years we've got a really thick, lovely hedge. Now obviously I've got a huge amount of hedging here, but if you were going to use this in a small residential garden, you can see how picking the right species like this will give you thick coverage. And you don't really need a hedge to be much higher than this to give you privacy in a garden. And it's another consideration worth bearing in mind, is that if you live next door to neighbours or you're in a residential area, you need to be mindful that by putting hedging plants in, you're not going to form a huge barrier that's going to cause loads of fuss and drama with your neighbours. So try and be considerate, pick things that are going to work with your aspect and soil type, speak to your neighbours, and then you can end up with a beautiful hedge like this that you will benefit from, wildlife benefits from, your neighbours will love, and everyone's happy. Now I've spent an awful lot of time this month weeding. Now it might not be the sexiest or most exciting of garden tasks, but I actually quite enjoy it. I find it really mindful just to come out for an hour every day and do a little bit of weeding and clear my mind. Now if you've started a new garden in the past year or you've planted new beds, you may find you've suddenly got a massive influx of weeds and you might think, what am I doing wrong? And the answer is nothing. Whenever you disturb ground, you dig out new borders, you're going to uncover loads of tiny seeds that all of a sudden have got the perfect conditions to germinate. And sadly, most of the time these are weeds. So it's important to get them up whilst the plant's established. But to give you some reassurance, once your plants get to a certain size, you'll find that the balance between them and weeds will even out. And if you're diligent and you weed frequently and pull out those perennial weeds or hoe over annual weeds, you'll find that in a matter of a year or two, it'll calm down. But a stitch in time really does save 9. Now you may remember that I grew an awful lot of herbaceous perennials from seed last year in my plastic-free challenge, and if you've not seen that video guide series, please check it out because it'll give you loads of top tips for how we can reduce our use of plastic in the garden and also grow amazing plants that you might not have even considered growing before. But let's have a look down here because I'm going to show you them now. You'll see here we've got an erigeron, which I've grown from seed. It might look a bit tatty now, but this plant here is going to bush up and take up this entire area. Look over here, we've got some baby Achilleas, again grown from seed, and this year they will grow up to about here. So it really is worthwhile considering growing your own herbaceous perennials from seed, because within a year these have already taken up a large chunk of the border and they're going to look absolutely beautiful, and it saves you a fortune. So let's have a look at the grasses that I pruned back last month, and I gave you some advice to say that don't worry when you hard prune grasses that they're going to disappear. They really do fire up at a remarkable rate. So let's go down here and you'll see behind me we've already got these, I think these ones are Amelanchier or Champsier, which I can never say, behind me, but look, already after about 3 weeks they've put on growth and they're going to rock it up. And if you remember seeing the garden at the end of last summer, they grow all the way up to about here, and then we've got this beautiful display of OT seed heads from around August time all the way through past Christmas into January. So that brings us to the end of the March update from me, Garen Ninja. Now it goes without saying that in these troubled times of COVID-19, we all need to do our bit to stay safe and to help protect others. If, like me, you've got an underlying health condition such as diabetes, or you've got a weakened immune system, you need to be extra vigilant, and we need to help each other out. Keep your hands clean, make sure that you're socially distancing, and keep in touch online with other people. If you've got a garden, you've got the prime tools to help pass away the days, make your garden awesome, help Mother Nature, and help keep this in as prime condition as possible, because that's what's going to get us through. If you've liked this video, please make sure you subscribe, hit the bell to get notifications of my videos, and I would urge you and ask you please to spread the word of these videos to help others that may be struggling in these difficult times. I do this all off my own back. I'm self-employed and it's really difficult during these times to know what to expect. But anyway, we must stay optimistic and enthusiastic because that's what all the Garden Ninjas are about. I've been Garden Ninja, I think a helicopter's about to land, not sure why. Hopefully see you soon. All the best, Garden Ninja.